Chapter 1. The Betrayal. Elaine's pulse raced as she watched the crowd applaud. Every achievement of the company, the empire she had quietly built from nothing, was being celebrated tonight. And yet, her own heart felt like it was shattering. She had believed in Ethan. She had poured her intellect, her strategy, her very life into his success. Every deal, every merger, every risk had been hers long before anyone realized it. And tonight, she thought she would finally be acknowledged. But the spotlight shifted. Ethan stepped forward, confident, charming, his smile carefully constructed for maximum effect. The room quieted, hanging on his words. Elaine's stomach twisted as he raised his glass, then smiled at her sister. "Vivian," he said, voice smooth and deliberate, "you've always been the one who challenges me, who understands me in ways no one else can. I'm proud to announce our engagement." Time stopped. The applause was deafening, but to Elaine, it sounded like a mocking echo. Her chest tightened. The room blurred around her. She had trusted him with her heart, with her brilliance, with everything. And in the span of a sentence, he had thrown it all away for her own sister. Vivian's eyes sparkled with triumph, the kind of victory that comes from long-suppressed envy finally given free rein. Her smile was cruel in its sweetness, as if she had been waiting for this moment all along. Elaine's fingers trembled around her glass, the liquid inside untouched, reflecting the harsh lights like shards of broken glass. Ethan caught Elaine's gaze, just for a moment. A flicker of guilt crossed his face, fast and almost invisible, but it was enough. Elaine felt it. And yet, he didn't reach for her. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He had already made his choice. Anger surged, raw and scorching. She wanted to scream, to lash out, to reveal all the secrets she had kept hidden in the shadows, the countless nights she had spent orchestrating deals, maneuvering competitors, building the empire he now paraded as his own. Every success he claimed, every accolade he received, she had made possible. And still, he had chosen Vivian over her. Elaine turned sharply, leaving the banquet hall before anyone could stop her. Her mind raced. There was no time for tears, no time for self-pity. Humiliation had been dealt, but revenge would be hers. She would not be a pawn in Ethan's games. She would not allow him to thrive while she was discarded. She reached for her phone and called the one person who could match her intellect with ambition, the one who could help her strike back without hesitation. Damien answered almost immediately. "Elaine," he said, his voice low and measured. "You sound dangerous." "I am," she replied, her tone calm, but every word carried the weight of a storm. "And I need your help. Ethan thinks he's untouchable. I'm about to prove he isn't." There was silence for a moment, and then a slow, almost predatory chuckle. "I've been waiting for you to call," Damien said. "Let's burn his empire to the ground." The words sent a shiver down her spine. It wasn't just revenge she was craving anymore, it was power. Every slight, every betrayal, every whispered doubt she had endured now fueled a fire she had never known she could wield. And Damien understood it. He didn't flinch, didn't lecture, didn't try to temper her wrath. He amplified it. Later, in the quiet of her apartment, Elaine reviewed every move Ethan had made in the last year. Boardroom manipulations, investor leaks, market rumors, all visible to someone who knew where to look. She had been invisible to him, a ghost powering his rise, but she would turn that invisibility into weaponized precision. Damien's connections could amplify her reach. Together, they would dismantle him piece by piece. Her phone buzzed. A message from Vivian. "Congratulations on the engagement, Elaine. Isn't it exciting to finally be free from all that responsibility?" Elaine's lips curled into a cold smile. Responsibility. That word had never applied to Vivian. She had done nothing to earn anything in her life, yet here she stood, basking in a glory that belonged to Elaine. But that smile was temporary, and soon it would fade. Very soon. The next day, Elaine confronted Ethan privately. He looked different when stripped of the stage. The cameras, the applause, vulnerable, human. There was still that dangerous charm, the one that had drawn her in months ago, but now it was tainted with desperation. "Elaine, he started, his eyes searching hers for something he couldn't name. "You chose her," Elaine said softly, cutting him off. Her voice was steady, Controlled, lethal. And you didn't even hesitate. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. Didn't mean? Elaine's laugh was sharp, bitter. Don't tell me you didn't mean to destroy everything we built. Don't tell me you didn't plan to humiliate me. Don't you dare give me excuses. His eyes softened for a brief moment, regret flickering, but it wasn't enough. Elaine turned and left, leaving him standing in the cold office, staring after her as if he had just glimpsed the storm he had provoked. That night, Elaine met Damien in his office. The tension between them was palpable, charged with ambition and something unspoken, dangerous, thrilling. She laid out her plan, detailing Ethan's vulnerabilities, his overconfidence, his blind spots. Damien listened, nodding, calculating, a smile creeping at the corners of his mouth. Exactly what I would have done, he said finally. And now, we make him pay. Elaine's heart pounded not from fear, not from love, but from the intoxicating thrill of power and the promise of vengeance. Every glance at Damien felt like an unspoken challenge. Together, they would not only humiliate Ethan, but they would strip him of everything he had ever stolen from her. As she left Damien's office that night, Elaine knew one thing with absolute certainty. She was no longer the woman who quietly built his empire. She was the storm about to break. And Ethan, he had no idea what was coming. The final image lingered. Elaine's determined face, Damien's calculating smirk, and Ethan obliviously smiling at the world, unaware that the empire he thought was untouchable was already slipping through his fingers. The screen cuts to black. Elaine whispers to herself, "Let the game begin." Chapter 2. A Marriage of Spite. The reception was no longer a celebration, it was a battlefield. Ethan's words still hung in the air, poisoning every whisper. Bella's pulse raced as guests turned their eyes on her, questioning, judging, dissecting every move. And beside her, Adrian stood like a statue carved from stone, calm, unreadable, his silence both terrifying and protective. Ethan's smirk widened at the lack of denial. See? He won't even defend himself. Bella, you think you're getting revenge on me, but you're just his pawn. Bella lifted her chin, her voice sharp as a blade. Better his pawn than your fool. The crowd gasped. Adrian's hand brushed hers lightly, not tender, but firm, anchoring her in place. He leaned close, speaking just for her. Let him burn. Every word he spits only fuels your power. She glanced at Adrian. He wasn't shaken. He wasn't rattled. He was in control, and she hated how much that steadied her. Ethan stormed out with Clara dragging behind him, leaving behind a reception buzzing with chaos. Bella forced her smile to remain fixed, refusing to let anyone see her tremble. But when the hall emptied and silence fell, she turned on Adrian. Tell me the truth. Why did you really do this? Adrian met her glare without flinching. Because it serves us both. You needed to humiliate Ethan. I need a wife who strengthens my image. That's all. Her chest constricted. So Ethan had been right, this marriage was built on calculation. Still, Bella refused to let Adrian see her falter. Fine. Then I'll play my role. But don't mistake this for loyalty. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it to destroy him. Adrian's mouth curved into the faintest smile. Then we understand each other. The following days were a whirlwind. The city pulsed with scandal. Headlines blared about the bride who switched grooms, about Adrian's cold-blooded strategy, about Ethan's public humiliation. Bella's name was everywhere, tied now to Adrian's. Together, they became the center of fascination and ridicule. Every event was a stage. Every glance between them was scrutinized, and Bella played her role with vengeful precision. At a business dinner, she laughed too loudly at Adrian's words, leaning close enough for the cameras to catch their chemistry. At a charity gala, she rested her hand on his chest, her eyes locking with Ethan's across the room, until his fury nearly boiled over. Ethan couldn't stand it. Each staged display of affection was another dagger twisting in his pride. Clara whispered in his ear, feeding his anger, but he barely noticed her. His obsession had shifted back to Bella, an obsession now tinged with jealousy and rage. Adrian, however, wasn't immune to the game. What began as strategy grew dangerous. His eyes lingered on Bella when no one watched. His hand steadied her not just for appearances, but because he wanted to. The cold calculation in him cracked whenever she smiled at him, smiled with fire instead of sorrow. One night, After an exhausting evening of parading before flashing cameras, Bella confronted him in the quiet of their home. "You're slipping," she accused, her voice low. "The way you look at me, people will notice." Adrian stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. "Maybe I want them to." Her breath caught, her defiance wavering. For a moment, silence thickened between them, heavy with something neither dared name. Their eyes locked, and the space between them shrank. Adrian's hand lifted, brushing against her cheek, hesitant, restrained, yet burning. Then he pulled back, retreating into control. "But this isn't real. Remember that." Bella swallowed hard, hating how much she wanted to forget his words. "Good, because I'd never fall for a man who treats marriage like a business deal." But her voice lacked conviction, and she knew he heard it. Meanwhile, Ethan plotted. Clara whispered, "They're faking it. Everyone can see it." Her venom dripped into his ear, and Ethan's anger curdled into obsession. He vowed to prove Bella and Adrian's marriage was nothing but theater, a performance designed to deceive the world. And if he exposed them, Bella would come crawling back. Bella sensed the danger. At every event, Ethan's eyes followed her, darker, sharper, like a predator circling prey. Adrian noticed too, his jaw tightening whenever Ethan drew near. Though he claimed their union was strategy, his protectiveness betrayed him. The tension reached a breaking point when Adrian pulled Bella aside after a gala. "Ethan's getting reckless. He'll come after you." Bella smirked, masking her unease. "Then let him try. I'll make sure he regrets it." But Adrian's stare lingered, fierce, protective, and something else she dared not name. The line between vengeance and something dangerously tender blurred again when they returned home that night. In the dim glow, Bella whispered, almost against her will, "Sometimes I forget we're pretending." Adrian's chest rose sharply, his control fraying. He stepped closer, his lips inches from hers. For one electrifying moment, the world fell away. And then, the flash of a camera shattered the silence. Bella flinched, turning toward the window. Across the street, a paparazzi lens glinted in the dark. Within hours, the headline would explode across every screen. Was this wedding a cover? Up? Billionaire and bride caught in intimate embrace. Bella's stomach dropped. The scandal had just ignited a fire neither of them could control. Chapter 3. When revenge becomes real. The scandal erupted like wildfire. By morning, every screen screamed with the same headline. Was this wedding a cover-up? Images of Bella and Adrian, their faces inches apart, burned across tabloids and business journals alike. To the public, it looked like forbidden passion. To Adrian's board of directors, it looked like recklessness. Bella's phone buzzed with messages, each crueler than the last. Social climber, opportunist, liar. She had become the villain in her own story, painted as the woman who'd abandoned her groom for wealth and staged intimacy to hold on to it. Adrian stood before a wall of flashing headlines, his jaw clenched in silence. When Bella entered, her fury cut through the tension. "You said this marriage would protect me," she snapped, her voice breaking. "Look at me now, I'm their punchline." Adrian turned, his eyes dark. "You think I planned this? The vultures are circling because you let yourself slip." Her chest tightened. "You're blaming me?" His voice dropped lower, colder. "Every move we make is under a microscope. One mistake, Bella, and my empire collapses. Yours too." The words stung, but before she could answer, the door burst open. Ethan stood there, uninvited, his expression softer than she expected. "Bella," he said quietly, "we need to talk." Adrian moved instantly, stepping between them like a wall. "You don't belong here." But Bella's chest heaved with unresolved fury. "Let him speak." Ethan's eyes searched hers, desperation replacing arrogance. "I was wrong. Clara means nothing. You—" His voice cracked. "You're everything. I made a mistake, but we can fix it. We can still be what we were." Bella's throat tightened. The words she had longed to hear once now felt hollow, poisoned. For one fragile moment, her heart betrayed her and wondered if their love had ever been real. Adrian's fury ignited. He shoved Ethan back, his voice a growl. "You will not touch her again." Ethan sneered. "You think this is love? She'll never love you. She's mine." Bella's hand trembled, torn between rage and the ghost of old affection. Her voice was ice. "No, Ethan. I was yours, and you destroyed that. Now you'll watch me become his." Ethan's face twisted, but Adrian pulled Bella away before he could respond. In the silence of the room, Adrian's restraint finally cracked. "I can't do this anymore," he said, his voice raw. "Pretending. Lying. I don't know where the act ends and where I begin." Bella's breath caught. "What are you saying?" Adrian's eyes burned into hers. "I want you. Not for strategy. Not for revenge. For me." The confession stole her strength. For weeks, she had played this dangerous game, convincing herself it was all performance. But the heat in his voice, the truth in his gaze, stripped her defenses bare. "Then prove it's not business," she whispered. Adrian cupped her face and kissed her. Fierce and consuming. A kiss too fiery to fake. The walls of calculation shattered, replaced by raw need and forbidden passion. Her hands clutched at him, pulling him closer, surrendering to the fire they had both tried to deny. But in the shadows, someone else watched. Clara. Her phone lifted, recording every moment. Her smile was venomous, as she whispered to herself, "Let the world see what this marriage really is." Hours later, the video hit the internet. Bella and Adrian, locked in an embrace that blurred the line between reality and performance, played on every screen. Commentators tore them apart, calling Bella a manipulator, Adrian a fraud, their union nothing more than a sham built on lust. Investors panicked. Adrian's empire wavered. The same board members who once praised his control now demanded answers. Bella scrolled through comments, bile rising in her throat. Opportunist, homewrecker, gold digger. The world had decided her worth, and it was ash. Adrian found her trembling hands clenched around her phone. "Don't look at it," he ordered. "Easy for you to say," she hissed. "You'll recover. But me? They'll never forgive me." Adrian gripped her shoulders, forcing her to meet his eyes. "They're wrong. You are stronger than their poison. And I swear, I won't let them destroy you." His conviction steadied her, if only for a moment, but the pounding on the door shattered it. Ethan barged in again, holding a newspaper splashed with their kiss. His grin was sharp, victorious. "It's over. Adrian's empire is bleeding. The board will throw him out, and you'll have nothing left. Then you'll come back to me, where you belong." Bella's eyes burned with fury. "I will never belong to you." Ethan ignored her, turning to Adrian. "Save yourself. Throw her to the wolves. Deny her. Cut her loose, and maybe you'll survive." Bella froze, her blood running cold, because for the first time, she saw hesitation in Adrian's eyes. He was a man who built empires from nothing, a man who thrived on power and control. Would he sacrifice her to protect everything he had built? The silence stretched, suffocating. Bella's chest heaved as she stared at him, praying for an answer. And then Adrian spoke. "Tomorrow," he said flatly. "I'll hold a press conference." Bella's stomach dropped. She couldn't read his eyes. Would he defend her, or betray her to save himself? The world would know soon enough. Chapter 4. The veil lifts. The world waited. The air was electric outside the towering glass building where Adrian had called the press conference. Cameras swarmed, flashes pierced the crowd, and reporters murmured feverishly. This was no ordinary announcement. This was a reckoning. Bella stood beside Adrian, her hand resting lightly against his arm. Her heart pounded not from fear, but from the weight of every choice that had brought her here. Every whispered betrayal, every staged smile, every moment of defiance had led to this. From the crowd, Ethan's smirk burned like a challenge. Beside him, Clara lingered, her expression smug, certain that Adrian would crumble under pressure and that Bella's humiliation would be complete. Adrian stepped up to the podium, his presence commanding silence. Bella could feel the heat of the moment, the electric anticipation that this was the end of something or the beginning. "We stand here tonight," Adrian began, his voice low and steady, "in a world hungry for scandal, a world that thrives on tearing people apart for spectacle." His eyes scanned the sea of cameras, then settled on Bella. "I have a confession to make." The crowd leaned in. Bella's breath caught. This marriage began as a strategy, a calculated move for mutual gain. But the truth is, Adrian's voice hardened, filled with something fierce and undeniable. I did not expect to find truth in it. I did not expect to find her. He gestured toward Bella. Bella is no pawn, no scheme. She is my choice, my wife, and I love her. Gasps swept through the crowd. Cameras exploded in flashes. Ethan's face twisted with disbelief and fury. Clara's smug smile faltered. The air was thick with shock. Bella's eyes burned with emotion. The words she had longed to hear were finally hers, but they carried weight beyond confession. This was not an apology. This was a declaration. Before she could speak, Ethan stepped forward, voice sharp with accusation. Bella, stop pretending. You married him for power. Admit it. Bella turned toward him, her voice steady, cutting through the crowd. No, Ethan. I married him because he showed me something you never could respect. Honesty. And yes, love. Ethan's mouth opened, but Adrian's hand closed over hers, a quiet but unbreakable claim. Adrian's gaze never left Bella. This is real, and I will prove it. Bella felt a fierce warmth in her chest. The years of betrayal, the games, the lies, they all came to this moment. She stepped forward, her voice carrying to every microphone, every camera. I choose Adrian, she declared, her eyes locking with his. I choose love over revenge. I choose us. And I will stand with him, whatever the world says. The crowd erupted. Reporters shouted questions. Flashes burst around them. But Bella and Adrian were locked in a moment that no noise could penetrate. From the sidelines, Ethan's fury turned to defeat. Clara's face hardened, but she knew the game was lost. She slipped away into the crowd, her plan unraveling. Adrian stepped down from the podium, taking Bella's hand. Their fingers intertwined like a vow in itself. He pulled her close, his voice low but certain. You are mine, Bella. Not for the world to question. Not for anyone to take away. Forever. Bella's lips trembled with emotion. Forever. And then, in front of the cameras and the chaos, Adrian kissed her. Not staged, not calculated, this was the kiss of truth. Fierce, tender, and consuming. The world could see it. This was no longer a marriage of strategy. It was their own. The press conference became a storm of whispers and flashes, but Bella no longer cared. She was done playing roles. She had her truth, and Adrian had his. Together, they had rewritten the story. Outside, Ethan turned to leave, shoulders slumping in defeat. Clara followed, their ambitions crushed beneath the weight of the declaration they had underestimated. For Bella and Adrian, the path forward was uncertain, but for the first time, they faced it together. No lies, no schemes, just love forged in fire and sealed in defiance. As they stepped away from the podium, Adrian whispered in her ear, a soft vow meant only for her. We've won, Bella, together. She smiled, leaning into him, knowing he was right. They had won not over the world, but over the past, over betrayal, over themselves. The cameras kept flashing, the crowd still buzzing, but Bella and Adrian walked away unshaken. Their veil was lifted, their hearts bound, and in the chaos of the world, they found their peace. The fake marriage becomes their true forever, while Ethan is left haunted by what he threw away. To summarize this story, a bride's perfect wedding collapsed in betrayal when she found her groom in the arms of her bridesmaid. In a shocking twist, she turned her heartbreak into defiance, marrying his powerful cousin instead. What began as a scandalous arrangement soon grew into something deeper, as fake vows sparked real passion. But jealousy, secrets, and public scandal threatened to destroy them both. In the end, love proved stronger than betrayal. And together, they rewrote the story the world tried to dictate. This is how a shattered wedding became the beginning of forever.